Hey everyone, this is the 416 Ministries podcast. This is the interview series. I'm Wayne Rodgers. Sitting down with me today is Drew Suttles. And Drew, for those who may not know you, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your family and some of the work that you do.
Okay, thank you. I am Drew Suttles, as Wayne mentioned. I'm the preacher for the Quitman Church of Christ in Quitman, Georgia. I basically tell everybody that's about Austin. It's about as south as you can go. I'm married to Brittany. Been married since 2014. It's hard to believe now. We have 4 children, 1 boy, 3 girls. My wife's a teacher. I also teach part-time, teach Bible at Georgia Christian School down the road. I coach high school baseball there. I also have a podcast, Weather the Storm, which is on the Scattered Abroad Network. So Wayne and I get to work together through that. And so just blessed to be able to serve the Lord in different capacities.
Well, and I'm glad for the work that we get to do, and Drew gets the opportunity to teach me all the time. I get to sit down and at your feet and listen to what I believe to be probably to me, it's one of the most beneficial because it is uplifting. It is working through the difficult times. It's weathering the storm. I mean, it's that concept, and there's so many life lessons in that. And so I think it's a benefit. So I'm always encouraged when I listen to it. And I get to learn, from you in that way. And Drew is a great teacher, so I know those students at Georgia Christian get to benefit from that too. So, well, when I think about the Memphis School of Preaching, from what you're wearing, a Memphis School of Preaching T-shirt or a polo here. So, so tell us a little bit about. Okay, so you went to Memphis School of Preaching, graduated what year?
2018.
18. All right. So, what was the the impetus for you going to the Memphis School of Preaching? What led you there?
It's a long story, but I'll try to shorten it. Yeah. I went to Freed Hardeman out of high school to play baseball. Mm-hmm. Had no intention on preaching. That was the last thing on my mind, honestly. I minored in Bible at Freed because my mom taught me, so I had a good base. Yeah. So I enjoyed studying the Bible there, but really had no desire to do that. I knew I wanted to coach. I wanted to do something in sports. But then after my wife and I got married, a month after we got married, she got pregnant with our first child. So that changed my entire plan on what I'm about to do.
No doubt.
And I said, I've got to get a job. I've got to support my family. Yeah. So I had a friend that worked at the tire factory, and I started the next week. I'm working 7 to 7, trying to figure out what am I doing. Yeah. This is not what I had in mind right out of school. And then I met Jonathan Jenkins. Met him at 3 o'clock in the morning. Wow. And we met at the back of the warehouse, got to talking. Long story short, a year and a half later, he and his wife obeyed the gospel. And that night I called Jake Sutton because we grew up in the same congregation. Right. I said, I know you went to Memphis. I've got to preach now. He said, you need to strike while the iron's hot. Mm-hmm. So that was June of 2016. And in August 2016, we started in Memphis.
Wow.
And then the next year, yes. And then the next year, Jonathan came. So we got to go through Memphis together for a year, and that was really special to do that. So.
And I was going to ask you about that too, because I know that every student that goes through, there are things. Obviously, we grow close while we're there to our classmates and so forth. It's nice when you already know somebody that's there too, and you get to spend that time. Mm-hmm. What would be a highlight for you, especially during that 2-year time?
Man, it was that I thought I was disciplined. Through Freed Hardeman, through baseball, even through working in the factory. But Memphis was a different kind of discipline. It was a different kind of work. And I loved it. And I embraced it. Yeah. And I told myself early on, I'm going to be a sponge. And whatever I can learn, I'm just going to learn as much as I can in 2 years. And really, I had a great class. Michael was still there. He was a wraparound, so that was helpful. He helped a lot. Jameson, Jonathan Beavers, Philip Thomas, guys that we all had that. We were a little bit older. Yeah. We were married with kids. We had a little life experience. So having that group of guys, we were super motivated. Yeah. And that, to me, that was a benefit. I want to be challenged. I love that, and I love the growth, and I definitely get that in Memphis.
No doubt. Favorite class?
Oh man, my favorite class. So we were the first class and only class to have Don Walker for the Life of Christ. Brother Elkins, I would have loved to have had him. I missed out right there. Yeah. But my favorite class was Book of John with Don Walker. Oh, that's incredible. Cool. Yeah.
Well, and I miss Brother Don too.
Yeah.
I just heard he was a tremendous teacher, and I didn't get the benefit of having him as a teacher, but he was certainly around, and so got to know each other that way around the school. But so you come to Quitman right out of school.
No, this actually my first work was in Nashville, Tennessee.
That's right. I remember that.
And I was there for 13 months.
Okay.
And I came down to Sylvester because Tate Sutton was preaching at Sylvester. So start with Jake, go with Tate. Had a connection, and he asked if I wanted to preach a gospel meeting. I'd never done one before. So it's my first one. And I'm preaching on evangelism. And Spencer Broom, I don't know if you know Spen Broom. Spen Broom was in the audience. Yeah. He's the one that baptized my wife.
Okay.
So she went to Forest Park growing up. They had connection with Forest Park.
Right.
He just came up to me and said, "You need to go to Panama with me this summer." Yeah. I've never been out of the country, never been on a mission trip. But I went, and you know, Spen was incredible, great encourager. And on the last day, he said, "You need to come to South Georgia. We need you in South Georgia." And it was just ironic because we were in Nashville, it was our first work, but it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, transparent with everybody here, I thought about getting out of ministry. Mm-hmm. I said, maybe this isn't what I need to do. And the equipment opened up, and I'm so thankful that the door opened when it did.
Yeah.
And so we moved here in October of 2019.
Gotcha. Equipment is a great congregation. We were here a couple of weeks ago and got reacquainted with the congregation. We came in 2012 and visited back then and got to preach over here a little bit. So so we knew a couple of people, barely, you know, right, yeah. But we got to come in and kind of be immersed into the congregation just a little bit in the sense of fellowship or a fish fry and then a fellowship meal on the Sunday. And I remember telling people, I said, I think we hit the Church of Christ lottery. You know? And so that was pretty fun. But it was nice to get to know everybody and to see everybody working and just a family feel and a growing, thriving congregation.
Yes.
And so I'm glad that you're here. And I want to talk about the work, several aspects of the work. But what do you see as a I guess if you were to highlight the congregation for people to know, hey, there's a great congregation in Quitman, Georgia. You need to come visit. You need to come check us out. What would you tell people?
So for me, there's an old sermon by Andrew Conley. It's The Menace of Mediocrity.
Yeah. And
he talks about the danger of being in a place that's just mediocre. Yeah. He says if you have enlightened elders, dedicated deacons, mighty ministers, and you've got saints that are committed, he of course alliterates the whole thing. Yeah. But that's what we have. It's not cliche. The elders do the work of the shepherds. They're feeding the flock. They're active. They're visiting. They're studying with people. And for me, as a gospel preacher, that's extremely encouraging.
That's huge. Yeah.
Because so many places the minister, you know, we know the pastor system is incorrect. Right. But that's how some are treated. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel that at all here. We've got elders that are doing the work, deacons that are always doing the work. And again, it's just so incredible. To come here, you don't have that feel of, well, this is one person doing it. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing work. You go to the hospital, normally it's only the preacher that shows up. You show up and you got one of your elders and their wives there. Yeah. You know, it's just things like that. That's all the time. So that's one thing I think it's such an appeal to Quitman. Yeah. Is you've got people from all different walks of life, old, young. You've got babies everywhere, which is awesome. Yeah. Everybody is engrossed in the work. And that's how it should be.
Yeah, it is a true family feel, and so you'd have a home immediately. Walk in the door, you feel you were at home. Yes. And so just visiting, we felt that. We know, hey, we got to leave here next week, but sometimes that's unfortunate. You find those places that are just feel like home. And so that's great. Is there a challenge to the work? I know we are in South Georgia, and I've worked in South Georgia, so I know some of the challenges of South Georgia. But is there a challenge maybe to this area in particular?
Yeah. So I go back to when I first started, October of 19. So a few months later, it's 2020. Yeah. Everything's kind of changed. It's post 2020. It's been different. So a lot of people, I think it was a test in a lot of ways. To see people that were just coming to be here or that really committed. And so it took us a while. That was a big challenge. Yeah. It took us a while to kind of get back on our feet from that. But I'd say from that point on, the biggest challenge we face is we have 9 religious groups here in Quitman. Yeah. This is a little town. So you've got a lot of things that are deeply rooted from generations, going back. Yeah. In a small little southern town, people, that's where my grandmother lived. Yeah, that's where I grew up in.
There's 6 generations at this street.
Right, and it's been a massive challenge to do that. But another challenge too is we have 3 Churches of Christ in Quitman. Yeah, And you mentioned the Deep South. A part of that is, unfortunately, there's this color barrier, which there shouldn't be. One of my favorite quotes, Wes Hazel says, there shouldn't be white churches and black churches, only red churches.
Yeah.
Only those washed in the blood.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge. That's a big challenge here in this area.
Yeah.
So we're doing our best, to just try to reach out and say, look, the gospel's for all. It's not something we got to believe that and really take that out.
And then live that out. Yeah.
And live it. So that's been a big challenge for us.
Yeah, and that is huge, trying to break down those barriers and, getting to travel the country in this last year and a half, especially kind of opened our eyes to some areas that certainly struggle with that more than others. And then you see areas that, the church is just very diverse and, it's a beautiful thing when you can see that. And so, I'm glad to hear that. I know that is a problem. We certainly face it as well. But I know that the challenge can be met with the gospel. Always can be help us to overcome those things. And it's I'm grateful that you and Brittany both, and for your kids' sake, have found a home and a family here. When you think about the work here, and I know you're a man of many hats because you're teaching over at GCS, you're coaching baseball, but obviously that gets you into the community as well and gives you that opportunity. Is there something that you see, and podcasting too, that you see you stay busy? Is there something that you see that that would be beneficial in ministry in an area like this that maybe is lacking that you can see?
Yeah, and again, I think it was Mike Vestal. He said you got to beware of the blue ribbon of busyness. And some people are just busy to say, look how busy I am. Right. If you're doing it for that reason, then that's wrong.
Yeah.
But I believe everything that the Lord has blessed me to do is an extension of my ministry here. Yeah. And the beautiful thing is the eldership here backs that up. Mm-hmm. So by me teaching at Georgia Christian, yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going away. I'm not here. But I've had kids in my class, and now their families are members here.
Right.
They wanted to come here, and we've built a relationship. And then on the baseball field, I baptized my shortstop last year, and now we've got that bond. So to me, there's a lot of different things. Obviously, there's more that we could do, but in an area like this, I'm just a big believer in getting in as much as you can, and reach out to as many people as possible, and just try to make an impact. And another really cool thing is when I got here, the Quitman Free Press is free paper. Mm-hmm. They said we need one more spot for the religious page. Would you be interested? Of course I would. Yeah. So it's been a blessing to be able to write. I have an article every week, spiritual questions with scriptural answers. And it started off like this, and now it's the main page on the religious section. That's a blessing.
That's cool.
Been doing that for 4 years now. Yeah. And then Jameson Stewart takes them and puts them on Study on Christ. So there's so many things we can do. And I think if any preachers listen and maybe they're discouraged, like what can I do? There's opportunities out there. Yeah. And just, it's our job to sow the seed and let God give the increase.
Absolutely. And I love the work that you're doing here, and I think it's beneficial. And I know the Quitman certainly loves you guys. We heard that while we were here. So that is a wonderful thing. So I appreciate the time and sitting down with me and just being able to highlight, a good work in the brotherhood. That's part of what we do. Maybe one more thought as we start to leave. Okay. In ministry, I know that sometimes we face burnout. Sometimes we go through some discouragement. What keeps you going?
Well, first of all, the Lord does. I'm motivated to, I think back to how He's blessed me and what He's done. Like Paul said, woe is me if I don't preach the gospel. Right. I feel that debt. I really do. I feel like God has blessed me and given me opportunities not only to go to Memphis, but to be in a that first work where I didn't understand and appreciate it first. We didn't have elders. We had a group that, I love everybody there. It was very cold. Mm-hmm. To open the door to come here, where you have active elders and you have something that's growing, and I just have such an appreciation. It keeps me going to know there's more people out there. There's a Cornelius in this community. Yeah. there's somebody that's searching for truth that they've never heard it. You know, and we sing that song, "There's souls to rescue, there's souls to save."
Yeah.
And like Brother Moser said, you got to take the lie. Don't just sit it.
That's right.
And that motivates me to keep going. And like I said, there are people that are lost, that live in darkness. There's a lot of bad things going on.
Yeah.
So to have the privilege to carry on the work that God would have us to do, that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, and Paul talked about that indebtedness as well too. Romans 1. So
That's right.
not ashamed of the gospel. So
Amen.
thank you, brother, for sitting
Yes, sir.
down with us.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you guys further down the road.